The world was supposed to be impressed. That was the whole point. On a bright May morning in 2025, North Korea's state media lined the docks of Sinpo South Shipyard, ready to broadcast a moment of national pride. A brand new warship, meant to project Kim Jong-un's naval power, was set for its grand launch. A symbol, a statement to South Korea, Japan, and the United States. The message: North Korea is a modern military force. The stage was set for a flawless display of strength. But as the massive warship began its slow slide into the water, disaster struck. Instead of gliding gracefully, the vessel listed violently to one side. The ship, meant to showcase North Korean engineering, looked unstable and dangerously top-heavy. It wasn't a majestic launch, it was a clumsy, awkward stumble. The ship didn't sink, but it was clear to everyone, both the hand-picked audience and international analysts, that this was a catastrophic failure. North Korea's leadership thrives on carefully managed optics. Every missile launch, every parade, every Kim Jong-un appearance is political theater. This launch was supposed to be another act. Instead, it revealed chaos and embarrassment. The listing vessel became an instant metaphor for the regime, outwardly intimidating but hollow and unstable inside. The perfect photo op turned into a global spectacle of incompetence. For Kim Jong-un, this was more than a technical setback. It was a blow to his authority and credibility. The image of the lopsided ship, struggling to stay afloat, was broadcast worldwide, undermining the narrative of invincible power. The embarrassment was profound, and the political fallout had only begun. Even before the launch, satellite imagery had analysts worried. The warship's construction was frantic. Panels welded at breakneck speed, seams uneven, quality control sacrificed for speed. The project felt like a crash program, driven by a political deadline, not engineering. Why the rush? The launch was timed for a major national anniversary. Kim Jong-un needed a win. Pressure from the top forced corners to be cut, safety ignored, and risks taken. The ship was built for ceremony, not seaworthiness. Its design was a hodgepodge. Old Soviet concepts mixed with unproven tech, tall and narrow, dangerously top-heavy. Naval architects saw the instability immediately. The focus was on intimidation, not function. When the ship listed, it was no surprise to those watching closely. The disaster was inevitable, a result of political demands overriding technical expertise. The cracks in the hull mirrored the cracks in the regime's image of competence. This was not an accident, but the physical manifestation of a system obsessed with appearances. Sinpo South Shipyard is North Korea's submarine hub, but its history is one of ambition outpacing ability. The shipyard has produced submarines, but they're noisy, slow, and outdated. Building a complex surface warship was a massive leap, one the shipyard wasn't ready for. Modern warships require advanced systems integration, expertise, and a sophisticated supply chain, things North Korea lacks due to sanctions and isolation. The disaster's root cause: an experience gap. Workers likely operated from incomplete blueprints under immense political pressure. The fundamental error, a miscalculated center of gravity, was a rookie mistake. Kim Jong-un can order impressive-looking weapons, but not the expertise to build them right. Ambition is not a substitute for ability, and physics doesn't care about propaganda. After the failure, North Korea's first move was silence. Triumphant reports vanished from state media, the event was scrubbed from the record, but in the age of satellites, the images were already out. The regime shifted to damage control, punishment, and propaganda. Reports emerged of brutal purges at Sinpo, engineers and officials arrested, some reportedly executed. Failure is never systemic in North Korea, it's always blamed on individuals. Kim Jong-un deflected blame, reinforcing his image as a decisive leader. Weeks later, state TV aired footage of the same warship, now sailing majestically, Kim observing with pride. Analysts quickly spotted the deception: digital manipulation, mismatched wakes, obvious fakery. The goal wasn't to fool experts, but to overwrite the real failure with a fictional success for domestic audiences. The regime's mindset: the image of power matters more than the reality. They couldn't fix the ship, but they could fix the footage. For a regime built on illusion, a propaganda video was almost as good as a real warship. The failed launch became a lesson in the power and limits of state-controlled narrative. But the world was watching, and the truth was already out. The failed warship was more than a domestic embarrassment. It hinted at a deeper story. Analysts noticed the ship's design resembled Russia's Starogushchi-class corvette, with missile launchers configured for Russian-caliber cruise missiles. These were not technologies North Korea could develop alone. Evidence pointed to direct Russian technical assistance, a sign of a deepening Moscow-Pyongyang alliance. Russia, isolated by the Ukraine war, turned to North Korea for munitions. In return, North Korea got advanced military tech. This partnership lets North Korea leapfrog decades of R&D, acquiring capabilities far beyond its reach. The failed launch may have been a botched integration of Russian tech into a primitive base. A North Korea armed with Russian technology is a far more unpredictable and dangerous actor. The disaster was a wake-up call. The Russia-North Korea axis is moving from rhetoric to real, high-end technology transfer. The implications for regional and global security are profound. North Korea is a paradox, nuclear-armed yet struggling to build a warship that floats. Its strengths are concentrated in a few areas, the rest of its military is decaying. This paradox is sustained by propaganda. The regime uses its few real successes to create an illusion of overall strength. Every missile test is broadcast endlessly, every new tank paraded in Pyongyang. Failures are edited out of the official story. The failed warship launch is a case of propaganda backfiring. The ship was designed for show, not battle. North Korea often unveils mock-ups or non-functional prototypes to project unstoppable progress. This focus on image over substance creates a brittle military. Impressive from afar, fragile up close. The nuclear program is real, but the conventional forces are often hollow. The world must distinguish between the real threat and the theatrical performance. The ship was a failure, but dismissing North Korea's navy as a joke would be a mistake. Even a flawed warship has strategic value for Pyongyang. Its purpose isn't to win battles against the US Navy, but to intimidate and coerce in peacetime. A large, armed North Korean ship is a threat to regional vessels regardless of its flaws. It can still sail, point its guns, and launch missiles, even if it wouldn't survive real combat. For harassing neighbors and enforcing maritime claims, a flawed ship is often good enough. These vessels also serve as test beds. Each failure is a lesson. With Russian help, North Korea's learning curve could accelerate. The regime is determined to build a modern navy, willing to fail publicly and try again. The illusion of strength can be as powerful as real strength in shaping decisions. Kim's displays of new ships send a message. North Korea is strong and defiant. This image deters adversaries, boosts morale, and increases leverage in negotiations. Even flawed ships contribute to a narrative of power. In geopolitics, perception often becomes reality. A paper tiger can still make its rivals flinch. The listing warship sent ripples far beyond Sinfo. It exposed the deepening military technical cooperation between Russia and North Korea, alarming Seoul, Tokyo, and Washington. Russia's active aid to Pyongyang shatters the international consensus on sanctions. This new axis fundamentally alters the strategic landscape. Russia provides North Korea with fuel, food, and advanced tech. North Korea supplies Russia with arms for Ukraine. Both become more resilient to Western pressure, more capable of pursuing aggressive goals. For South Korea and Japan, the threat is immediate. A North Korea with Russian cruise missiles and better submarines is far more dangerous. This will trigger a regional arms race, increasing volatility and risk. Long-term, Russia's support ensures the Korean peninsula remains a flashpoint, diverting US attention and resources. For a low cost, Russia creates a major headache for the US. The failed launch was more than a single ship. It signaled a new, more dangerous chapter, co-authored by Moscow. The world must now contend with a North Korea emboldened by Russian partnership. North Korea's failed warship launch tells a story of two truths. First, much of the regime's military power is illusion, propaganda, deception, and a few niche capabilities. The disaster revealed a hollowed-out industrial base and a system that values theater over engineering. But second, even a paper tiger can be deadly if it has real claws. North Korea's nuclear arsenal and growing missile capabilities are real and terrifying. The alliance with Russia could slowly turn today's incompetence into tomorrow's threat. We must not overestimate North Korea's capabilities, but we must not underestimate the danger. The regime is both brittle and dangerous, a mix of nuclear weapons and industrial decay. This contradiction makes North Korea unpredictable and hard to manage. The Sinfo disaster pulled back the curtain, revealing both weakness and ambition. In geopolitics, illusions have power, and North Korea's ambitions remain a persistent threat.